Most business owners are terrible at marketing, and it's not because they're dumb. It's because they've been taught by people who've never actually done it. They watched one guy on YouTube say something that sounded smart, they never tested it, and now they're repeating it to their team like it's gospel. Listen, I've spent 2 decades in the trenches of marketing. I've studied under Jay Abraham. I've worked with some of the best copywriters alive. I've read hundreds of books on persuasion and positioning and conversion, and more importantly, I've actually done the work. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to hand you the entire operating system. Not tactics, not hacks, the actual framework that every dollar you'll ever make in business will flow through. If you run a business and you want to grow it, this might be the most useful 20 minutes you spend this year. Let's get into it. The first lesson I ever learned in marketing came from Jay Abraham, and it's embarrassingly simple. There are only 3 ways to grow a business. 1, get more customers. 2, get those customers to spend more money each time. 3, get those customers to come back more often. That's it. There's no 4th way. Now, here's what most founders mess this up. They obsess over number 1, more leads, more traffic, more eyeballs. They completely ignore 2 and 3. But think about it. If you increase each of those levers by just 25%, you don't grow by 25%. You nearly double your business because it multiplies. And most of my consulting work, when I walk into a company, comes down to these 3 questions. What's working really well right now? Let's do more of that. What's working well in the past that you stopped doing? Let's start doing that again. And what's clearly not working? Let's kill it. You'd be shocked how many businesses have a growth lever sitting right in front of them that they've abandoned because they got bored. Not because it stopped working, but because they just stopped doing it. And this brings us to something most people get completely wrong. Before we talk about tactics, you need to understand something fundamental. You can only ever sell 2 things, a product or a service. And there are only 3 ways to sell either one. One-to-one, that's a phone call, a sales meeting, a DM conversation. You're talking to one person and closing them. One-to-many, like on a webinar, a stage presentation, a YouTube video, an infomercial, you're pitching one time to a room full of people that can say yes. Or on display, that's a shelf in a store, an Amazon listing, a Shopify product page. The product speaks for itself. Now, here's why this matters. Your price point and your product dictate which method you should use. You're not going to sell like a 99-cent pack of gum on an infomercial. Like that math just doesn't work. You just throw it on a shelf near a register and let impulse do the selling for you. But you're also not going to sell like a $25,000 coaching program from a product listing with no explanation. People need context. They need to be sold and informed. There was this great example on Shark Tank a while back. A company made this survival thermos. It was like a $200 thermos with like a built-in Bunsen burner at the bottom. Like, it was a really cool, impressive product. Their strategy? Put it on a shelf at REI right next to the $20 thermoses. Like, that's a terrible idea. Without any education, without a presentation showing why it's 10 times the price, nobody's going to buy it. It looks exactly the same. So the customer just grabs the $20 one and walks away. That product needed a one-to-many pitch, a demo, a video, something that explains the gap between what it looks like and what it actually does. So before you build a single funnel or run a single ad, ask yourself, am I selling the right product the right way at the right level? Because most businesses aren't failing at marketing, they're using the wrong selling method for what they sell. Now, once you know how should you sell, let's talk about the engine that drives it all. Every marketing strategy you've ever seen, every funnel, every campaign, every launch boils down to 3 steps. Get a lead, make an offer, follow up. That's the entire game. So let's break down each one apart. A lead is not just a name on a list. A real lead has 2 things: their contact information and permission to market to them. If you have their contact info but no permission, that's called spam. Cold calls, door knocking, unwanted interruptions. Now, can you build a billion-dollar company on cold outreach? Absolutely. Some people have. But for you and I, that's playing the game on hard mode. Now, if you have permission but no contact info, that's called social media. They followed you. They wanted to hear from you, but you can't reach them directly. The platform owns that relationship, not you. So the goal of all marketing is to move people from prospect to lead. Get both things, contact info and permission to market to them. How? Ethical bribes, lead magnets, free trials, a checklist, a sample, a mini course, something valuable enough that they raise their hand and say, yes, I want that, and here's how to reach me. That's step one, and this is where things get interesting. Step two is the offer, and most people absolutely butchered this. Here's the best definition of an offer I've ever heard. A great offer is something somebody already wants at a price they've already agreed to that they believe will make their life better and it won't be painful to go through. So let's unpack that because every piece matters. Something somebody already wants. Now, you cannot create desire from nothing. Stop trying to convince people they need what you sell. Instead, stop looking for people to buy your stuff and start being findable to the people who are already looking. Now, the second piece, at a price they've already agreed to. This one messes with people, but think about it. When you go shopping for a car, you already have like a rough number in your head. When you buy a book, you know it's going to be around like $10, $20, $30. We all walk around with like these invisible price tags in our minds. The only time you need to do heavy lifting on price is when the number is way outside of their expectation, either like too high or too low. And here's what nobody talks about. If the price is too low, people don't trust you more, they trust you less. A book that costs like 20 cents, well, obviously there's something wrong with it. Like a Ferrari that's like $10,000, what's the catch? We're living in an era of all-time low trust. Your pricing has to match the expectations or you have to educate the gap. Here's the last part. Second to last part. They believe it will make their life better. Everybody wakes up with this like metaphorical headache, a problem that they want solved. They're looking for aspirin. They might not know which brand of aspirin. They might not even know that aspirin exists, but they know that the headache is real. Your job is to position your product as the aspirin for their specific headache. And the last piece, they won't experience pain in the process. They'll enjoy it. This is the part that like most marketers skip entirely. It's not enough to sell the result. You have to sell the experience of getting the result. So like, why do people hire realtors? They could technically go buy the house themselves, but the paperwork and the negotiations and the mortgage process, like it's painful. A realtor removes the pain. That's what the value is. Now, great marketers don't just sell the destination, they sell a painless ride to get there. Which brings us to the part where most businesses silently bleed money. Step 3, follow up. And I'm going to be blunt. This is where 90% of businesses leave the most money on the table. Here's the reality. 99% of people will not buy the first time they see your offer. Studies show it can take like 30 to 40 touch points before someone even converts. And for the first like 20 plus impressions, they often don't even register your brand correctly. They confuse you with a competitor. And this is normal. This is expected. This is exactly why most businesses fail at marketing, because they show up once, they get ignored, and then they take it personally. Let me give you a real example. You check your email in the morning. PetSmart says 50% off cat food. And you think, oh yeah, I need cat food. Delete. Next day, same email. Oh right, cat food. Delete. Third email. Sale ends in 2 days. Oh man, I keep forgetting about that. Delete. Fourth email. Last day, 1 hour left. And you finally buy. Now, listen, that's not annoying marketing. That's effective marketing. Because you actually wanted the cat food, you were just busy. And that's the thing that most business owners don't understand. On the internet, you're not competing against other marketers, you're competing against cats and boobs. Your prospect was about to buy, and then they saw a YouTube video, and they scrolled into a political argument. They ended up on Instagram and just completely forgot that you existed. That's not a rejection, like that's life. And rule number 1 of marketing is that most people won't do what you want them to do, which is why every serious marketer builds contingency plans. They see your social post but don't click, well, you retarget them. They hit a website but they don't opt in, you show them a different angle. They give you their info but don't book a call, well, you follow up by email, by text, by voicemail. They buy but they don't leave a review, you ask again and again and again. The entire marketing funnel is just a series of contingency plans for when people don't do the thing you wanted them to do. That's the business. And if you accept that, you'll stop being frustrated and start getting rich. Now, this next part is the one that separates the amateurs from the pros, from the operators, from the killers that are out there. There is no such thing as Instagram marketing. There is no such thing as YouTube marketing. There's no such thing as Facebook marketing. There's just marketing on a particular medium. And the strategy comes first. The platform is just where you execute it. Most people start with the tactics. They say, I need to do TikTok. I need to do Reels. I need to start a podcast. That's the wrong starting point. The right starting point is, how should I sell my product? Is it one-to-one, one-to-many, or on display? And once you know that, you pick the platform that fits. And this is why so many business owners spin their wheels. They jump from platform to platform, tactic to tactic, uninformed optimism, informed pessimism, the valley of despair. Then they hear something new that sounds easier, and they start the cycle all over again. They never get to stage 4, which is what we call informed optimism, where you actually understand how the thing works and what it takes to scale. And they also never reach stage 5, which is achievement, the win. Because once something starts working, the whole game changes. Your job is not to find something new. Your job is to do 10 times more of what already works. I ask this question to every founder and business owner I work with. Why can't we 10x what we're currently doing? 2 out of 3 times, they just say, honestly, I guess we probably could. And then I say, well, why aren't you? And the answer is always the same. They got distracted, they got bored, they started chasing the next shiny thing before they squeezed every last drop from the thing that was already working. When you get something to work, beat it to death. Templatize it, systemize it, scale it until something actually breaks. Then fix the thing that broke and scale it again. This is how real businesses grow, not by doing 10 things at once, by doing one thing really, really, really relentlessly well. Here's the last thing, and it might be the most important thing. Most marketers today have never studied the greats. They've never read Ogilvy. They've never studied old copywriters who had to spend $1 million on a single newspaper ad and make it work or go broke. Back then, you had to write words that were so persuasive that a person would read the entire ad, clip out a coupon, stuff cash in an envelope, walk it to the post office, and then wait 16 weeks for something to show up. Think about the level of trust that those words had to build. Today, God, we're spoiled. Right? Amazon shows up at my door every freaking 20 minutes. We throw content out there and hopefully something sticks. But most marketers never build the muscles to actually influence people. They just got lucky with volume. The lesson from these old masters: don't describe your product so that it can be understood. Describe it in a way that it can't be misunderstood. And that's a completely different standard. Here's what it's for. Here's who it's for. Here's why you buy it. Here's the benefit. Here's the feature. Here's the price. Here's the guarantee. Here's why your life will get better. Now make a decision. Clear, specific, impossible to confuse. If your marketing isn't converting, it's probably not a traffic problem. It's probably a clarity problem. So you got to fix the message before you spend another $1 on your ads. So listen, let me bring this thing full circle. 20 years of marketing distilled into one sentence. Get a lead, make an offer, follow up, and never, ever, ever stop. There are only 3 ways to grow a business. There's only 3 ways to sell anything. Only 3 steps in all marketing. The business owners who win aren't doing something exotic. They're doing the basics, just at an elite level. And the ones who win, they pick one strategy, they go deep, they build contingency plans for when people don't do what they want them to do. They study their craft, and they don't get bored before compound interest of consistency kicks in. That's the shift. Not more tactics, better fundamentals. So listen, if you got some value from this, here's what I want you to do. Subscribe, hit the little button thing. I'm just getting started on YouTube, but my goal here is I'm going to keep breaking down the playbooks that actually grow businesses. Not theory, not fluff, just simply what works. And if you want to go deeper on building a business that runs without you, check out this video right here, and I'll see you there.